Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. In this video we will be going over all of the sword enchantments in Minecraft 1.17 and which ones are the best to use. We have done a ton of these videos in the past, and now that 1.17 is right here, it is time to update those videos. Before we get into the video quickly, I would like to ask you guys to hit that sub button if this video helps you out. Thank you guys, be sure to wash your hands after this video and let's get right into it. So first I want to say welcome back to the tool enchantment guides, and yeah, I guess we can call this a season 2, but yeah, we're in a little bit of a different location. Yeah, not the same place as the old enchantment guides. Yeah, we kind of moved out and we moved into a newer, nicer place. So yeah, this is where we are going to do all of the tool enchantment guides from now on in 1.17. So yeah, I hope you guys like this little setup, and now we can finally start talking about the sword enchantments. So how is this enchantment guide gonna work? So basically in this chest right here we have all of these sword enchantments. On top we have the ones that we will be placing on our sword today. Oops, I almost gave you guys a sneak peek. And the ones on the bottom are the ones we won't be placing on our sword, but they are sword enchantments. So we're going to briefly go over this bottom layer at the end, and right now we're going to obviously talk about the ones we are putting on our sword, and we can move into that right now. So the first enchantment we will be placing on our sword is Sharpness 5. Briefly, if you don't know what Sharpness is, it basically just increases the melee damage of your weapon. So we're going to look at a Sharpness 5 Netherite sword versus a normal Netherite sword. Put this into perspective, a normal Netherite sword does 8 base damage and a Sharpness 5 Netherite sword does 11. As you can see, the Sharpness sword kills the zombie in 2 hits and not 3. Okay, hopefully that demonstration helped you out a little bit, but if you are still having trouble with Sharpness, I do have a Sharpness specific video on the channel, and I'll put a link to that video in the description below. Okay, so the next enchantment we will be placing on our sword is actually Looting 3. And as no surprise to anyone, looting is probably the second enchant you would go with on your sword, and we'll explain what it does briefly right now. The looting enchant can cause mobs to drop more items. The amount of each drop varies with or without looting, but overall looting will give you more drops than a non-looting sword would. Alright, next on the list is Sweeping Edge 3. So this one is a little bit tricky to explain, but it is a Java exclusive. So if you are on Bedrock and you're watching this video, unfortunately you cannot put Sweeping Edge on your sword. So a little funny thing I want to say really quickly, back in the first sword enchantment guide we actually did that on Bedrock, and we couldn't put Sweeping Edge on our sword, and a lot of people were asking for Sweeping Edge. Sweeping Edge, as its name, increases sweep attack damage. Similarly to Sharpness, this can be seen by comparing a normal Netherite sword against 3 zombies versus Sweeping Edge sword against 3 zombies. As you can see, the Sweeping Edge sword takes them out much faster than a normal Netherite sword would. So 3 enchantments down, 2 more to go for our fully decked out sword here. And these 2 are a little different from the first 3, as the first 3 had to do with I guess attacking and damage and stuff like that. The next 2 have to do with durability, and these are pretty simple ones. Just Mending and Unbreaking 3. We're gonna actually talk about these 2 together because they are pretty similar. So I said Mending and Unbreaking are pretty similar, and I said that because basically they both increase the item's durability, but in different ways. Mending, on the one hand, takes XP gained and actually increases the durability that way. So for example, if you take out a mob with a Mending sword, the XP gained from that mob will go into the durability of that sword, if that makes any sense. Unbreaking, on the other hand, actually gives the chance for that item to avoid durability reduction when it's used. So let's say, for example, you use an Unbreaking sword on a mob, it has the potential to avoid durability reduction when you're swinging your sword on that mob. So hopefully I explained Mending and Unbreaking pretty well, because you'll see them pop up a lot in these enchantment guides. So if I need to explain those better, just let me know in the comments. Alright, so before we actually go into the enchantments that we're not going to be using on the sword, we're actually going to put the enchantments, like I said earlier, onto the sword. So there is a really efficient way of doing this, and instead of throwing your netherite sword in and enchanting that one by one, what you can do is actually just throw in the books and combine the books first. And as you can see, we have an enchantment cost of 6. You can obviously check these to see which has the lowest cost. Since we're not too worried about how much the enchantment actually costs, because this is a guide and not a real survival world, we don't really care. But I do recommend looking for the cost and seeing which is the lowest, and then combining those, and then at the end you can put that onto your sword, and I'll show you guys that in a second. All right, so we have the full enchanted book here, so let's go ahead and throw this onto our netherite sword. As you can see, it costs 37 levels, which is actually a lot when it comes to enchanting, because I believe after 40 levels on an anvil you won't be able to actually place the book onto the tool you want. I believe it will say it costs too much or too expensive or something like that. So that is pretty close, 37 levels. Luckily we got it underneath. But yeah, like I said earlier, we are not too worried about the levels because we are in a little guide series and I have unlimited bottles of enchanting. So yeah, lucky for us, we do have that benefit. Alright, so before we end the video off, we're gonna briefly explain the enchantments that we didn't use, or I should say the sword enchantments that we did not use. So the first one is Fire Aspect 2, and I know this comes to a surprise for a lot of you, but yeah, the only real, I think, reason to use Fire Aspect is if you need food on the go, and if you're making a god tier sword like this, you have food under your belt, you don't really need Fire Aspect. The next enchantment right here is Knockback 2. Obviously some people do say it's good for creepers and stuff like that, but I think it's just more of a hassle when you're taking out mobs and trying to loot them, especially with looting on your sword. It just kind of becomes a hassle. Next we have Smite 5, and obviously this one you can't use because we have Sharpness 5. Then we have Bane of Arthropods, which is the same deal with Smite. You can't have it with Sharpness, so unfortunately we can't use those, but we wouldn't want to use those anyway. And last but not least, we have Curse of Vanishing, because who wants that on your sword? Alright, so that's gonna wrap up this video. We did make the best sword in Minecraft, in my opinion, and we'll go over really quickly what it looks like. Sharpness 5, Looting 3, Mending, Sweeping Edge 3, and Unbreaking 3. Then we did talk about the enchantments that we didn't use right here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Really helps me out. Also, let me know in the comments which tool we should do next. Also, are you excited for 1.17? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.